We had
And
such a great conversation and
we
nobody
did. We
heard
had
it.
nope, nope. It's just us
Aw,
between us. The whole
dude.
thing. Yes, I know.
Great. That's
So let's
great.
start. Yes, I know. It's that kind of a day. It just is. Yeah.
Maybe we should
So
just do some karaoke or something. Like it
yeah,
doesn't.
I think I would rule
That's
that out
great.
as
It starts with an
with an
earthquake,
earthquake,
birds and
birds and
snakes and
planes and
airplanes. Anyway,
airplane.
hey, everybody,
Yeah,
buy my book, The Sound of Settling, a rock and roll love
that's right.
story at
That's right.
tarotoplanrocks.com. Donald
And
Trump is a traitor owned by Putin who raped little girls who were sex trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. If you're just joining us, that is truth. So, what
so
the hell,
here,
friends?
yeah. So
Hey,
this is Trump back where we left off before we got bumped
yeah,
off
A
again.
big number, a lot of soldiers,
it's a
on both
big
sides.
number.
And I know the president.
We were on
I
for
know
like a half an hour and
myself,
nobody
I believe
saw.
Vladimir Putin wants to see it
So fun.
ended.
Great.
And as you met with Putin on Friday, today you've got President Zelensky here. As you listen to Russia and Ukraine, which side has the better cards?
Well, I don't want to say that. I'm just here to be. Look, this isn't my war. This is Joe Biden's war. He's the one that
It is not Joe Biden's where you
had a lot to
fucking
do with
piece
this
of shit.
happening, and we want to get it ended. And we want to.
Yeah, that part I got to say, he seems to be. This is the whole like blaming his economy problems during his first term on Obama, even though he, again, like Biden's economy, it was raging before it came in, and then he's
Oh my
like, these,
God.
yeah, the cost of this, again. By the way, can we just list a few things? Prices have not gone down.
No, they have not.
No. And the tariffs haven't even kicked in on most consumer goods. A lot of stuff, like they've carved out shit. So you're starting to see certain things show up cheaper than other stuff. And so you're seeing products shifting around because he's made deals with countries that we just didn't have deals with before. But eventually, he keeps punting the China ones all the time. So they're like, we've got these. They said the tariffs would wreck the economy. I'm like, yeah, they would
Well,
if they
they
ever got
are.
implemented. And yeah, right. What he means is like the vast majority of them just haven't been put in place. And then the ones that have caused businesses to cull jobs, have taken stuff away from, have raised the prices of consumer goods around them, or the parts involved in stuff made in the United States, again, because the Japanese deal is far worse than any deal that's ever been made. The American car manufacturers that get their parts made in other countries and assemble the car here with American workers making a car here pay a higher cost than the Japanese made on a Japanese car made in Japan and shipped here. They pay 15%. American companies are paying 20, 30, 40% for elements of the vehicle that they can't make here yet, even if they wanted to, for years. So Japan's getting this huge jump on stuff, not the Toyotas that are made in Tennessee. Those are more expensive than the ones that are actually shipped here directly from Japan. That's the deal he made.
Yeah, but he's such a successful businessman. Hey, thanks, Mark P. in the chat for the lovely boost for my book, The Sound of Settling, and also reminding everybody that I'm most associated with radio in Portland because I was on the radio here for 20 years ago. I was on the radio here for 5 years. Also, something else people can know about me is that I just signed with SiriusXM to be a fill-in host when the hosts go on vacation. So hopefully soon I'll be filling in for both our friend John Fugelsang and some other friends. Thank you so much. But another thing to point out that I saw go by in the chat that I really wanted to point out. 1 second. Oh, somebody said, I forget who it was, that Trump's tombstone will say, it's Biden's fault, which is hilarious. That's hilarious. So we all know that Donald Trump never takes accountability for anything, but he'll take credit for stuff that he's never done. It would be great if you have all of those world leaders in the Oval Office and the White House press, whatever's left of the White House press corps. What is it? A guy from Newsmax and Marjorie Taylor Greene's puffy-eyed boyfriend and
Brian, what's his name? Yep.
Yeah, Brian Glenn, Brian Puffy
Brian
Glenn and Peter Ducey.
Peter Ducey.
Peter Ducey.
And
it'd be great.
Chanel Rayon.
Oh boy. It'd be great if any one of those people asked live on camera, what do you think about the Epstein files? To any of the other world leaders, where do you think the Epstein files are? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Because all of this, the show in Alaska, everything that he's doing will be a smokescreen distraction from Epstein.
Yeah.
So rolling out the National Guard in Washington, D.C. when the crime rate is down by 30%. That's all a show for MAGA, making them, it's manufacturing the fear. Manufacturing, just like the self-victimization is all manufactured. All of it is fake. It's all a show. I don't know how any American citizen would tolerate the military takeover of an American city. It does not make any sense. It's not supposed to happen here. Our government isn't supposed to threaten us. They're not supposed to bully us. They're not supposed to take anything from us except our taxes, which they then put back into the programs that keep America going. That's not what's happening. We are witnessing a time in our country where the Republican Party does not care about the Constitution or our democracy. They're not providing for the common defense or promoting the general welfare. What they are doing is covering their own asses so they don't get disappeared in the middle of the night if they dare speak out against dear leader. And what we need to be doing is lifting up the independent media who's telling the truth. You, me, everyone on Political Voices Network, everybody who is invested in the truth. We have to be louder than MAGA every single day, which is why the Gavin Newsom thing is brilliant. It's all something that we can enjoy together. Now, on its face, maybe it's silly, but it's effective. It's effective and it's working because when they go low, what we should be doing is kicking dirt on top of them. That's what we should be doing, kicking it down and burying them in a way. When we appropriate what they do and turn it around on them, they hate it so much, like the Dark Brandon. When they were doing the Let's Go Brandon and they thought they had something, and then we just appropriated it and ran with it and did Dark Brandon, they hated it. They hated it so much, which is why they're very mad about this AI stuff and the all cap stuff from the Gavin Newsom stuff. So what it shows you is that there's fallibility there. There's weakness there. And we just have to continue to show strength. And I mean, 2026 is obviously the most important thing right now, but it makes them very upset when you say Newsom 2028. It freaks them out really, really hard. I don't, and we have so much to get to before we get to 2028, but I'm all for anything that triggers them right now. And so, like the Epstein stuff is going to continue to trigger them, which is why we have to keep talking about it. Congress will eventually come back. They can't stay on recess forever, right? They've got to come back. And the first order of business should be Epstein/impeachment between
it's going to be
because letting a war criminal on our soil is another impeachable offense. Just add it to the list. Add it to the list of impeachable offenses. And that should be the first order of business. And you can't stay recessed forever, Speaker Jesus Freak. You really can't. And I very much appreciate Gavin Newsom doing what congressional Democrats are not doing. They're not. Jeffries isn't doing what Gavin Newsom is doing. Schumer, if you send one more strongly worded letter, Chuck Schumer, enough already with the strongly worded. We were supposed to get the Epstein files on Friday because that was the rule of 5 deadline. And what are you going to, you're going to take him to court now? Okay.
Yes.
What's that going to do? Fucking release them. If my senator could investigate the financial ties between Epstein and Russia for the last 3 years, he's been investigating them. Why don't you just release the rest of it? Huh? I don't know. Someone just said we need a leftist, not another moderate like Gavin. What we need is a Democrat that can unify the party. That's what we need.
You need a Democrat that can get elected. You're not going to get, quote, a leftist. You are not. You're not going to get him.
It's going to be a very centrist white man in the first position. And in the second position for VP, look, I want a whole ticket that's nothing but people of color. I want people of color. That's what I want. What is realistic is that this country will vote for a gay white man before another black woman. So if we had, let's say in 2028, we had a Newsom Buttigieg ticket. That's not the visual I want for a ticket, but that's an electable ticket that will then clean up all of these messes and put women of color, black women, men of color, minority people in positions of power, again, like the Biden administration. And that's how we'll rebuild. But it's all about who can win. And so right now, Gavin Newsom has emerged as a unifying leader for the party because he's doing something. He's doing something, and we can all get in on it. And eventually, it's not going to be this.
All right. I also think that people need to recognize, and I see Phil in the background. I don't see his camera on yet, so I'm giving him a minute. And Philip Bittner's going to. There he is.
Hi,
I see
Phil.
him. He's
Phil
gonna.
the Thrill, which is what I call my own brother, whose name's Phil.
Yes.
Hi, buddy. What's
Hi,
up?
buddy. Hi.
What's
Hi.
up?
How
We're
are
all
ya?
here
How are
now.
ya? We're
Well,
all
you know,
here.
we had
That's
some
all
technical
fixed.
shit. I like. Okay,
Yes.
so
Well,
someone
that's
just
why
put
I
up.
raised my hand.
Thank you.
And also because
So,
what the
bye,
fuck
Hal.
was that in the Oval?
I
Yes.
don't know, but someone
Yes.
just put up Newsom / Pritzker, Newsom / Kelly. Here's what I'm gonna say: if we're gonna run two white men, the second of the white men needs to belong to some sort of minority community. It can't be just two rich white men. That's not cool. That's not a good optic for us. It should be, if you're gonna run good.
Yeah.
Let's just say if it's Newsom, then the other white guy's got to be Buttigieg,
Sorry.
or
the
it needs to
optic,
be a
the
man
only
or a woman.
the only optic we have to worry about is losing to the Republicans because we lose some independents in those seats. It is not about checking boxes. It is not about, because the win has to be long term and it has to stick. It can't be 2 steps forward and 5 steps back.
Exactly.
On the regular. So if they can get elected, I don't give a rat's ass. I have a feeling it will be a man and a woman, but that
I would love
that
that.
would be my preference. And I think that it worked last time. It can work again. I think there's a very strong chance it could be Whitmer, or it could be Granholm, or it could be somebody else similar to that.
I like
there's
Melanie
a lot to that.
Stansberry, by
But
the way, but I love Jasmine Crockett. I mean, we'd all
let's-
love to see Jasmine Crockett in the Oval Office. I don't think that's, crazy, but I don't think
Yes, it
it's
is.
2028.
No,
It's not
she's a congressperson.
2028.
It's totally great. Yeah, no. And it's also
So-
Sparks
Newsom. Andrea got it.
Damn
Because
straight.
you know more than any Republican right now, or
Right.
ever. Really.
There's
All
a
right.
lot of that around. So Phil was
quickly.
bringing up a very good point, which is,
Yes.
what the fuck is this?
Well, this is
now,
an embarrassment
been
on the global
talking-
stage. That's what
Right.
this
We've
is.
been talking about this, Phil, for a little bit, but I do want to kind of address the idea that you're talking about, because you may have seen more of it than we have, because we were discussing things.
I had to blot out some of it. When he started
You
talking
can't,
domestic
right?
stuff. Well, I just got earphones on, so I just take out the earphones. But when he started going to domestic politics and stuff and self-praise right next to a guy who is literally defending his nation and doing it extremely well, and is not one to go in for, look at me and how wonderful I am. And the dude, lives in bunkers, for Christ's sakes. He's got assassination squads going after him. But this pudgy fuck can sit there next to him and go, I'm so great, I'm so wonderful. And then also still kiss Putin's ass right next to the man whose population is being massacred, literally driven down the street, hunted like animals in the streets by bomb-laden drones, daily
Civilians, specifically.
Civilians. And knowingly civilians, you are operating a drone. You know exactly what you're going after. You're hitting grandmothers. You're hitting children. They know exactly what they're doing. And this motherfucker sits in the Oval next to the man whose population is suffering through that every single goddamn night. And he praises himself. What a disgrace. What an absolute, utter, shameable disgrace. And it pisses me off. His obviously also, by the way, as we have all noticed and spoken about, his mind is mush. He goes
He's
all
gone.
over the place, all over the. I don't want to take away from Todd's time, and I like that you guys talk domestic politics.
It's your time now.
So,
it's your time.
No. I want to make a couple other quick points, and then I'll leave you to it.
No.
Or I'll stick around.
Do it.
Okay. All right. We'll work it out amongst ourselves. We're all friends here. Look.
Yeah.
There's another aspect that the fact that you had this enormous European delegation show up today. He is not going to be able to bully Zelensky. Not only that, and I've heard a lot about this in the European press today. A lot of they're going to go to Trump with their hat in their hand, and they're going to kiss the ring, and they're going to be so deferential, and what an embarrassment that'll be for all Europeans. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. These are not stupid people. They have been monitoring what has been happening in the United States. The last time Keir Starmer was in the Oval Office, he had to kiss the ring. He had to bend the knee. He had to be deferential. Keir Starmer knows exactly what's going on with the Epstein controversy.
Yeah.
He's going into the White House. All the Europeans are going into the White House and saying, we know you are not as strong as you used to be. You are your second administration is a fucking shit show. It's
Yes,
it's
it
on
is.
fire shit show. So you can't exactly be as pushy to us as you thought you could be or you have done in the past. And they're all there equally as well. So unless Putin really gave it to him in Alaska, I think we're going to see something good come out of this for Ukraine. Fingers crossed, obviously. But we put out that I don't know if folks saw, but we put out we did a massive reaction. 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours long. Yeah.
2.5 hours of
I
interviews.
started watching it this morning. Right.
10 interviews. They're sectioned off in chapters, so you don't have to watch it all at once. But all these Ukrainian voices responding to what happened in Anchorage. And we talked about this very thing in the interview I had with a member, the head of a party in the parliament here, Kira Rudik, and she's the head of the Golos party, and she's fantastic. And we spoke to her. I spoke to her about this, and she openly said this has to be a pan-European front. And it was before the announcements of them leaving to go with Zelensky, so she kind of anticipated it. I just hope to God that some serious European leaders like van der Leyen and maybe Rutte and all these Starmer and that's what's happened. So he's going to be outnumbered. He is outnumbered. I mean, what anyhow.
We said this at the beginning. Before anyone could actually hear us, I was saying that he's going to be so intimidated that he'll end up overcompensating. And then he'll just humiliate himself more because he knows he's out of it. Donnie is out of his element. So he needs to shut the fuck up.
And then also he's going to have a phone call with Daddy.
Oh, of course he is. Of course he is. Hey, I'm going to let you guys continue this and I'm going to peace out. Well, I mean, it's cool. Yeah. I got to go I have to go have lunch with my son. So, but everybody buy my book, The Sound of Settling, a rock and roll love story at TaraDublinRocks.com. Sign up for my Substack because I'm number 4 and rising in fiction today. Number 4 and rising. Number 4 and rising. Like I don't know if that will translate into a book deal, but it absolutely should. And then join me tomorrow on the Tara Show and Thursday as well, because we'll be welcoming Ron Wyden to talk more about Epstein.
If you ever want to branch out to international stuff, talk about stuff over here, I'm only a phone call away.
I got you, brother.
We'll hook it up.
Well, you know what? We'll get you on the Tara Show real soon because we have not spent enough time talking about Ukraine on that because we've been pretty much focusing mostly on Epstein the last few weeks, and rightly so. But we're all in this together, my friend, except for Trump.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everybody. I love you. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
All right. Bye. There she goes, ladies and gentlemen. And Phil, I'm going to this afternoon on my regular show. I'm going to watch, the Trump sit down.
Yeah, you had the Gremlins. That'll happen. That'll happen. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times as a field producer we were in some god awful space in the middle of fucking nowhere in some fucking desert. With the old BGAN satellite phones that you had to set up and all the rest of it. It can be infuriating, so I can only feel your pain. But
thank you, I appreciate
Gremlins are a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and hopefully I will be able to remedy the issue, whatever it was, with this business, so that we can at least have the guests. And this should be my fallback. This should work every time relatively flawlessly. But today it was like the first fall. But I will be watching his remarks later on today, and
I'm only going to be up for another 3. I mean, it's late here. I'll get it in the morning. And again, I'm holding out hope. I don't like making predictions unless I'm far more secure in my beliefs and understanding than I am currently. But I think the fact that all the Europeans dropped everything they were doing at a moment's notice and flew over with Zelensky. They're absolutely going to present a unified front. And Tara's right. He's easily intimidated because he's a fake, tough guy. Yeah. But also, secondly, because they're going to convince him this is in the U.S. interest. We will buy every goddamn thing in your catalog. We will
Yeah.
flood you with money. We have lots and lots of money. Now, the Europeans may not like that, particularly the Brits. I think the Germans might balk at that a little bit. The Poles are going to be 100%
They don't
in
even
on
have,
it.
here's the thing, they don't have to live up to it. That's the fucking thing.
Well-
All they got to do is say it in the room with him, and whether it turns out to be true is immaterial. It all goes back to the
I
original-
think I think there's going to be an accountant somewhere. Those
Well,
are
no,
some
I mean, what I'm-
high ticket items they're going to be asking for. They're going to pay.
Well, no, I know that the Europeans are going to buy the military stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like they can come in there and glad hand about trade and all kinds of shit, and he'll just take the PR bump because that's what he needs most of
Yeah.
all. And this goes back to the
Yeah.
Zelensky, the Zelensky,
He's
I don't know.
He's a greedy motherfucker by nature, and
in
avarice
the first
and
term,
greed.
though, in 2020,
Yeah,
when he
but
was saying
avarice
all
and
you got to
greed
do
are
is
a disease.
all you got to do is open up an investigation.
And he's got the crypto. He's wealthier than that's
ever
not the but addicts like addicts. If you wave a little fucking baggie in front of them, even if they're 60 years sober, there's going to be something.
I totally
they're
agree.
Still, if they
but what's he
dangle a
addicted
little
to?
bit of money, he'll love.
He's not addicted to the actual money.
Wow.
He's addicted to the illusion of money. He's not addicted to the actual power because that you got to do a fucking job if you have power. He likes the illusion of power that everybody has to come to him and kiss his ring. He doesn't want to have to do the meetings and figure shit out. He doesn't want to be the guy who actually comes up with the genius plan because he doesn't fucking have one. So what my point was, in the first term, he asked Zelensky, and sent Rudy Giuliani over there to go, hey, we don't even need you to do an investigation. Just say there's an investigation and we'll take care of the rest, which, by the way, they had no plan to take care of the rest. They were just assuming that would be enough from a PR stance. So if the Europeans show up and go, look, buddy, we're going to buy a bunch of weapons from you. Russia hasn't got the money to buy it. We're going to, they'll build fucking statues to you if you save Ukraine and you don't support Russia. But if you support Russia in this situation, you're going to be a fucking pariah over the entire European continent. And the Middle East, you can hang out down there all you fucking want. But you and I both know you don't want to golf there. You just want their money. And so the idea that you're going to build properties, down there and go, look how rich I am, it's just stupid. So I feel like they've got leverage in this situation that Russia does not have.
Absolutely.
At this point.
Absolutely. So, and I think the show of numbers is going to, that'll have lasting effect as well.
Right.
There are a couple of spoilers in here. Of course, the criminal in the Kremlin. I still, I don't know how great his influence is on Trump, but he clearly has undue influence in Trump. We haven't talked about Alaska very much,
right?
But there was that him coming out there and looking like he'd seen a ghost, and Putin was like the cat that ate the cream. So, I mean, how compromised is he really to Vladimir Putin? Spoiler number one. Spoiler number two is U.S. military intelligence and intelligence sharing. That is not that can be a chip that can still be played. I think they're going to come to an agreement on weapons sales, and that's good. That'll get a lot more weapons. Him even like saying there's a possibility of a ceasefire. Bollocks. No way. Absolute bull. There is a ceasefire is I think very, very unlikely. Never say never in a war. War is a tricky mistress. But the Russians are not done trying to gain more territory. They might be exhausted. They might have issues in their coffers. But as far as actually doing the fighting for right now, they're not done. In 3 months' time, because they have the head of the Russian central bank has said by the end of this year we're running on steam. We're running on fumes. So they have a motivation there, but I still don't think they have gotten into a military position where they're willing to stop. Unfortunately, they're never going to get to the military position that they're hoping for a breakthrough at this place, Pokrovsk. And it looks like not only is it not going to happen, but the Ukrainians are repelling it. They're never going to get to these major cities that we've talked about in the past. As for the Ukrainians, well, they might accept a ceasefire, but they're going to demand a lot of things with that ceasefire. and that's going to make
And-
it problematic with
and
Kremlin
there'll be
Trump.
non-starters for the Kremlin, right?
Yeah.
That's
and
the
for,
thing.
and for Trump. And for
Yes.
Trump, because Putin will call Trump. Trump will say to Zelensky, "That's unacceptable. You're being unreasonable. You're the bad guy. It's all your fault." I mean, God forbid we get back to a place where it's Trump and Putin side by side, and the European Union and Zelensky on the other. We live in odd times.
Right, but if he does that, even in that circumstance, MAGA will start to drift. They because they not because they care, but because this is another distraction from Epstein, and it becomes we're being gaslit. That is the phrase. Even amongst like Joe Rogan has turned on this whole thing. They're getting even, they were thrown a huge conspiratorial bone, and because of the video coming out and all that kind of stuff. So they're latched on to this thing. They're not going anywhere from this. And so everything else is seen through the lens of this motherfucker is trying to take our eye off the ball. And so,
also, he's just as bad as any other politician. He's just another asshole wielding power willy-nilly,
and making himself rich and all that
and
stuff.
what have I said?
And
making himself rich and hiding the scandals and the corruption within the swamp or whatever the fuck they want to say.
Right.
But what have I always said since the beginning of this war? Back when I was in Lviv, you remember what I said? We don't have command over whether or not the Ukrainians stop fighting or keep fighting. That's not up to us. The Ukrainians are going to keep fighting as long as they have a modicum of strength left in them. So you keep sending them weapons and they'll keep fighting. You stop sending them weapons, if God forbid it actually does get to a point where he reverses himself, then the Joe Rogans of the world, and actually everybody in the world, every human being with a heart, will see death and destruction on a scale that will shock everyone. It will be on the scale. I hate hyperbolic statements, but I mean, we're not talking World War II. We're talking flattening cities that are built for like 200,000 people. Later, they'll have to be flattening cities that are built to hundreds of thousands of people. They're going to have to destroy this country, and the civilian deaths and the refugee crisis that will also be front page news once again.
Right, because people have to flee these areas. And they're going to have to flee into Poland. They're going to have to flee in Moldova. They're going to have to flee into the rest of Europe. Yeah,
they're going to be in Canada. There's a huge Canadian diaspora. They're going to want to go to the United States with that whole fucking thing going on. Who knows how that'll go? But that's going to be a major crisis as well. And that will grab the front pages yet again, proverbial front pages. I know I'm a dinosaur. But, so you'll have the combination of little old ladies being killed in cities and, like soldiers just, dying bravely, but dying. And that will then grab the narrative. And yet again, it will be, hey, you told us we weren't going to have any more wars. You told us you would shut down all the warmongers. Why is this still happening? He'll, of course, try to spin it into it's Zelensky's fault. The Europeans will give them the two-fingered salute on that one. But will the right swallow the Zelensky is a big, bad, corrupt? Even, and also cannot the narrative possibly be established that doesn't matter if he's corrupt or not. The Russians are killing those people. And we've got this match. We have to fucking solve this thing.
Yeah,
and that's
I'll go even.
He doesn't know how to
further. Right. And I'll go even further than that. Like they still got 70,000 fucking kids. They still got Zelensky can literally say in his conversation, like, have you talked to him about giving our children back?
Yeah.
This has to be an important part. Our people are saying we want our children that they abducted back. And I would argue that this should be a much bigger part of the story from the Ukrainians, that this should be a constant, they need to send somebody to the UN and stand up in front of like the Russians have taken our children. They're giving us prisoner swaps. They're giving soldiers back, but they won't give us toddlers back and babies. And again, will it appeal to the hearts and minds of MAGA? Doesn't fucking matter. It'll just be another glitch in their inability to kind of, juxtapose the Epstein stuff with Trump's illusion of being a deal maker and a peacemaker. It eats into that illusion very strongly. And it's
Yeah.
another ghost that haunts them in the back of their head. They're going, well, he doesn't give a shit about this. I mean, how's he going to give a shit about child sex trafficking if he doesn't give a shit what Russia took 70,000 kids? I heard 70,000 kids. They took 70,000 kids, which they fucking did. So if you keep bringing it up, eventually...
Well, bring up the goddamn catalog. Bring up the online catalog.
Yes, right.
The problem is Ukraine's... I hear what you're saying about Ukraine needing to grab the narrative and the story and the public opinion and the attention. It's not from a lack of trying. I can assure you that there is a concerted effort to push down Ukrainian voices, and it's coming.
Oh, I agree.
From Moscow.
But I agree. But I also would say that anywhere there's an open microphone, you take advantage of it. That it has to become whatever. If you're live, if any of them are live, you don't have to get them to run and tell a big fucking story. But anytime somebody's representing Ukraine, representing the Ukrainian cause, or trying to just speak as a news person about this, the reality that they have abducted children it's a true element of this story that is worth talking about. So you don't have an excuse for not going. And not only do they want this territory, they haven't even won yet. Like you said, it's like taking San Diego and claiming they owe you California. But they also have 70,000 children that they have abducted.
Yeah, and the kids' story is something that can get it hooked. Hooked in because they have
that's something.
Right.
That's something that maggots quite frankly don't give a shit if Ukrainian soldiers die or even Russian soldiers die at this point. They're kind of hands off. But the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world don't have an answer for what about the kids. They don't have one. So if you throw it in their face, whether they respond to it or not, that's a response.
Yeah, the kids. I think you're right about them not caring about soldiers, but I do think, and again, God hope. Let's hope to God that it never comes to this. But if weapons do stop drying up, if the Trump administration really goes fucking nuts, or the real anti-Ukrainian or these guys with the Zelensky is a warmonger and stuff. If that crowd can grab control, Putin, of course, exerting his influence, God forbid it dries up. I think there will be a third aspect. You're right. It won't be the soldiers. It'll be civilians and the refugees. It'll be because what I've seen the Russians at war. If they go for a large city, they're going to flatten it. They're absolutely going to flatten it. They're going to destroy so much property, and
they're already doing it. And
they're already doing it. But luckily, they've been able to. Luckily, actually, most of the civilians are able to be evacuated beforehand.
Yeah.
But when you start getting to larger cities, it's harder to swiftly evacuate them, which means civilians are going to die under artillery strikes.
Right.
Okay. It's just, and obviously, we both have spoken about Kherson. This whole thing, the narrative has to be ripped away from Moscow, and it has to be the fact that no, it is not on the Ukrainians' responsibility to finish this war or agree to some terms. Now, they probably are going to have to agree to some terms, but ultimately, that's the guy that did all of this, and it's his fault. That's what we have to keep pushing. And I think the Europeans are going to keep doing it, and I think the American general public understands that. And I think if the Europeans do keep a united front, that'll bleed over to us as well. So, let's hope this is a good thing for Ukraine because Alaska was a fucking embarrassment. Actually, turns out probably Alaska was a good thing for Ukraine as well. But I think they're going to keep getting weapons. I think we're going to keep getting weapons. I think we're going to get Patriots. That's the most important thing. Air defense is the absolute most important thing that we need to get. And then discussions further down the road. I don't know. I've already stated this with you before, but I'll say it again who haven't heard it. I think the possibility of losing Donetsk and Luhansk, or at least the positions that they hold in Luhansk and Donetsk, is probably something that Ukraine would swallow. Taking more territory in those oblasts, I even think, and I know some of my Ukrainian friends would argue with me, I think if the Russians said in order for there to be a ceasefire or a peace deal or whatever, we want the entire oblast. So even the sections that we haven't taken. And to use my California analogy, that would be like the Russians have taken everything up to Lake Tahoe. And
Mhm.
and then they basically force the up to the Oregon border. So I think that's possible. Kherson and Zaporizhia are non-starters.
Mhm.
They don't hold any territory of substance in there,
Right.
and they're strategically very important for the Ukrainians. So that's not likely to be accepted here in
That
Ukraine.
could be something they feel like they can walk back and not
Yeah.
lose anything. Like the Russians could literally ask for it. If they get it, great. But if they have to look like they're giving a concession, you do that by asking for way too much, and then
Mhm.
by going back to like Earth, it looks like you gave a concession when you did not. You asked for something
Which is their
absurd.
technique. They always do
Yes,
that.
right.
The sticking point is going to be Crimea.
Mhm.
In terms of territory. In terms of territory, it's going to be Crimea, and that's going to be. I don't know how that's going to get resolved. I really don't. That is a very. I would my if I was king of the world, I would say we're going to have an international symposium. We're going to make a special status agreement
Mhm.
for Crimea, much like we do at Guantanamo or Diego Garcia, and we'll make a deal to demilitarize it, or in
Right.
terms of land forces. Of course, they won't accept the total demilitarization because the entire point of Crimea is Sevastopol and the naval base there for the Black Sea Fleet. Those are the territorial issues that I can see being a real sticky wicket. The Ukrainians are going to demand security assurances, most particularly with air cover. So they're like, if the Russians break this deal, that there'll be an almost like instant no-fly zone and that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. It's been floated that certain countries might also say we will immediately deploy forces. I'm thinking of Poland, the Scandinavians, the Balts.
Sure.
But there's so much to talk about here. There is the point that came out of that press conference that a ceasefire can be immediate, and
Mhm.
so then the killing stops, and that's the most important thing. The killing has to stop. Um, but
But that is
negotiating these
again
real things, that's going to take a
that
long time,
right.
and the U.S. is outclassed
Yeah.
100%.
Well, that's why the Europeans. Trump is outclassed just with
Yeah,
Zelensky and the
Europeans are going to
Europeans
take
being
over.
there. Yeah,
Europeans are going to take over.
and the idea is like, look, leave it to us. You obviously don't want to have anything to do with this or whatever. Just sell us the weapons. We'll give them to them, and we'll
Yeah,
work it
yeah,
out.
boss. I
But
tell
yeah,
you what, boss. Just
you don't
give
need
us the
this.
keys to the car. You don't need this headache.
Yeah,
Just give us the
we'll
stuff.
bring it back
We'll
washed with a tank full. Bye.
it's
Yeah,
exactly.
because he's
Exactly.
yeah. I mean, it's so
This is a man
fucking dumb.
child.
It's so fucking embarrassing.
He's a man
And
child.
and and again, he is so easy. It's like it's so funny because Tara just cannot give him an inch even to save a mile from other people because it's just her nature. But it's really obvious that everybody around him is like, you just glad hand this dumb motherfucker, and he'll kind of hand you the keys. And the Europeans, it took them a while to figure that out. Putin had figured it out in the fucking 80s.
Mhm.
So, this is Putin went in dry, says Mad Dog. Yeah, because Trump will let him. That's why he walks funny after every meeting. But the point I'm trying to make is that the Europeans can use that same flattery mechanism, and that'll be that. Like,
Yeah, but they also have now they have a stick to go with the carrot
yes,
because they know he's fucked.
yes,
They know domestically he's fucked. He's compromised. And
yeah,
so they can, I mean, like, well, okay, so like the Europeans can go to him and go, Donnie, if you don't
hmm
play nice, uh,
hmm
your kerfuffle domestically is going to get so much worse,
right.
so much worse. Because we're gonna freeze you out as well. We're going to come at you in all sorts of directions. They don't
They could
have
just
to. They don't have
the
to be
Europe
quite as nice as they used to be.
no, and the European leaders can do their own soft version of what Newsom is doing, and put
Yes,
extra pressure on him. And again, dude is on a hard fade. It is very
yeah,
obvious.
he
Like even
is.
just when he was waiting for Zelensky, this whole like that he was
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
like a fucking kid.
No,
Like I have to do this. Like yeah, motherfucker, you're the president of the United States, for better or worse, and mostly worse. You've got to do the goddamn job. It goes to that. I know he can get the job, but can he do the job? That's Trump's entire fucking life. He doesn't want to do the job. He never has. That's why he outsources it to very respected people who came highly recommended, so that if it goes south, he can blame them, even though it was his dumb idea or something, his own. I won't even say his idea, his fixation in the case of, say, tariffs or something, that he was. He still thinks somehow that Ukraine invaded Russia or some shit, or threatened Russia and started this shit.
Well, the tweet he put out, I guess, late last night about how like Zelensky could stop this war in a minute if he wanted to. Yeah, by surrendering.
Right. What the fuck? Everybody can end a war by surrendering.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't bring the kids back. It wouldn't bring the dead back. You fuck. So
and Zelensky would be ousted.
Yes,
100%, not without a question. They would call General Zelensky,
and rightly so.
I'm sorry, General Zaluzhny, who is sitting in London as ambassador to the Court of St. James. The Ukrainian people say, "Come home, we're getting rid of this guy," and Zelensky knows it. Zelensky knows it, and also genuinely, I know everybody kind of poo-poos kind of any idealization of Zelensky, or there's always chinks in the armor, and there's always the corruption stuff, and all of this. But he has done an extraordinary job, and the vast majority of Ukrainians still very much stand behind him. So we'll see if he comes home with anything. That'll maybe give him some even more points. But if he were to do what Trump and Putin want him to do, he'd be ousted. He'd be 100% ousted. So
yeah,
and Trump doesn't understand. Again, I can't reiterate more, and none of them do. I mean, Vance was sitting on the couch there. Of course, Rubio was. Makes perfect sense. What the fuck was Kennedy doing there? What?
Look, if he's there like getting people to skip a vaccine for fucking malaria,
and I'm sure maybe there was like some topic he wanted to bring up.
I'll tell you why. You want to know why? Phil? You know why he was there? Because there are bioweapon facilities that were used by
yes, of course,
in Ukraine, and he's been co-opted by the deep state so that they can make the next plandemic. Right? That's bubbling all over fucking BitChute and all the like.
I just think he wanted more guys on his team. He saw all the Europeans and he was like,
"Yeah, he's outnumbered.
I need more guys on my team."
Who do we have? Where's
who's in the building? Quick! Okay, ready? Everybody line up. Ready? Hut one.
Yeah.
Hut two.
Caroline Levitt just standing in the back like fucking seat fillers at the Oscars. So we shall see. I'm gonna sign off because I appreciate.
Sorry about all the tech problems, buddy.
That's okay.
I'm glad I could help you out a little bit.
Yes.
Apologize for Tara for me stealing her airtime.
That's okay. And we were well past it anyway, so I appreciate it greatly. And sorry to Lev, and we'll try and smooth this out for the next time he's on there. I greatly appreciate it. Much love to you, my friend. Be safe. And
as always, safe as I can be.
Yes, I will see you on the other side of this craziness.
Yep. Let me know if we're still on for Wednesday, and
we are.
We'll be in and last plug, we put a hell of a lot of work into that thing.
Yes.
Go watch our special episode about the Alaska meeting between Putin. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people in there with really good insights. We got Kira Rudik from the RADA, from the Parliament. We have the head of the Council of Foreign Affairs for the RADA. We have Malcolm Nance. We have John Sweeney. We've got your average, just Ukrainian activists and just Ukrainians.
Yeah.
And it's all sectioned out, so you don't have to watch the entire 2.5 hour thing all at once. But please do watch it, because boy, did we put a lot of work into that thing.
Excellent. All right.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Brother.
Talk to you on Wednesday.
I will. All right. Cheers. There he goes. Ladies and gentlemen, Philip Bittner, and helping us to sort of bring it home after the morning's I won't say difficulties. I'm going to call them curiosities. Let's just put it there. So, you guys jump on Trucker John and watch him, and I'm going to bug out and fix my gremlins, because grumble. That's why. And I see, how do we go about doing this? We try to do, I think, this business. I don't even know if that part of the audio is playing through there or not, but we shall see what we shall see. Let's see. I think I can do it this way. I'm going to go back to here. There we go. Okay. And that will be that. All right. I'll see you guys later on this afternoon. Good Lord.